So we're at 1600 hours. Welcome, folks. Wait for another minute. In the meantime, a little word about GACS. Some of our members, of course, are part of GACS, but I can see a few veterans like Mr. Chopra out here. Mr. Chopra, Global Association for Corporate Services. I know I can't hear you, sir. Actually, you've been put on mute. But then maybe you'll be unmuted a little later, sir, because the audience, Jatin, our coordinator, believes in giving the mic as of now to the speakers, and subsequently we'll open up for you all also, sir. So Global Association for Corporate Services, ladies and gentlemen, is an association which works towards filling the gap in the knowledge base of the industry. We understand information is widely available these days. You search on the net, you get far too many things, but the focused information that was desired wasn't available. That's how a few of us got together. We said that there is something required to bridge this gap. That's how GACS, Global Association for Corporate Services, was brought up 4 years back. We've been doing a lot of activities, these kind of webinars we're doing, knowledge seminars we've been doing. Pre-COVID, we used to have almost a monthly seminar every day, every month. And every 6 months, we used to have a conclave, a knowledge conclave. We used to have senior leaders from various organizations coming in and speaking to the audience, where the audience could be as much as 700 to 800 members sitting in the audience. So we had a lot of learnings over there. We had likes of Vikram Path Singhania from the JK organization coming in. We had a whole lot of diplomats coming in. We had South African ambassador, High Commissioner once, such like organizations were there. And various topics of interest were taken. We had Mr. R.K. Singh, Minister of State for Renewable Energy, coming in when we spoke about, environment, health and safety. So those are kind of activities which we've been doing. COVID has restricted, but not completely cut the wings. We found a ways through, thanks to these kind of, Zoom-like, events through which we've been able to connect. So these activities have been continuing. 2 weeks back, we spoke about info security, and today the North chapter, we all part of the North chapter out here, the North chapters got together to discuss something which is affecting most of us, work from home. We're getting, now over the last year and a half, you've sort of got used to this work from home. Now, the queries are coming in, are we really moving out from the work from home? Is it going to be here for a little longer? Can it last a little longer? Now, those are kind of queries which are coming in. So that's how we chose the topic. Is it the end of the work from home? Is it the end or the beginning of work from home? Is it the beginning of the end of work from home? So is the work from home coming to an end? Is it going to be continuing for some time? That's what we had in mind. So I have two illustrious speakers from the industry with me today, and we're going to be discussing with them what are their views, what do they think about it. So both these stalwarts need no introduction really. We have Sangram Dhar and Rajesh Monga. Sangram Dhar is currently the president of Proton Facility Solution. Most of us are aware of him. He's been director and subsequently COO of Tenon Group. He's also been the director and CEO of Rotopar. Apart from his technical and managerial prowess, Sangram has vast experience of mergers and acquisitions of companies, starting from the due diligence, setting them up, stabilizing the operations, and especially where cultures were different, the functionality was different, and he managed to merge the whole thing together and bring it on one common page. Wonderful, Sangram. Good to hear that. And Sangram believes that transparency in relationship management with both seniors and juniors is the key to a sustainable and successful tenure. Wonderful, wonderful indeed. Sangram, good to learn about that.
Thank you for the rich introduction.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the other speaker with me is Mr. Rajesh Monga. Again, needs no introduction really. Rajesh is a Senior Associate Director, Global Workspace Solutions with CBRE, a passionate mentor who provides practical help for leadership development and performance improvement. We've seen him in our SOFE, School of Excellence activities of GACS. He's a profound speaker. He's been passing a lot of knowledge to all of us. It's always wonderful to hear him. It'll be a pleasure to hear you today again. He's been leading FM and CRE for large corporates like Genpact, WNS, JLL, CBRE for almost 18 years. Joined CBRE 7 years back and is handling major accounts like American Express and DXC Technology. A leader of many hues. He's been a teacher turned FM professional. He was a school teacher of English language from 93 till 2000, turned a teacher trainer at Intel and trained over 2,000 teachers to use the technology in classrooms. and thereafter then dived into the corporate world. And we know the kind of achievements that he has against his name in the corporate world. Welcome once again, Rajesh. Pleasure to be
Thank you
with
very
you out
much,
here.
Kanalishu. Thank you very much. Pleasure.
So folks, is the beginning of the end of work from home really concerning you? Are you ready for it? Have you got used to the new normal? We know COVID vaccination has crossed the 1.1 CR mark. India has done a great job. We've been led by the strong leadership, and we put a mark there on the international arena. Now, of course, employees are wondering if it's time to prepare for and moving out from the comforts of homes and return to the offices. At one stage, we were concerned how this is going to be opening up, how it's going to be fanning out a year and a half back. But now we found the safety from COVID-19 has been there thanks to this work from home. There are flexible work timings, better collaboration, communication has been better with both supervisors and subordinates. So the sectors are opening up. IT sector is also opening up. We've had a report by NASSCOM, and they say that it'll be about November, maybe into December, that we'll have youngsters till about the age of 25 joining in, and subsequently senior levels also going to be coming in a graded manner. So folks, Rajesh and Sangram, one by one, please. We could start with Rajesh. Rajesh, first few words from you about the topic and how do we see this panning out?
Thank you, Colonel Ashok. I think you've given a lovely sort of context to the entire problem. End of working from home, I think that is something which is the first thing that comes to my mind. It's just not going to happen. Work from home is not going to completely end. Neither the offices will start working like they used to work before the pandemic. So a kind of blend is something that we are arriving at. Last couple of years, companies have learned a lot of tricks of the trade, enabling people working from home, and that is going to continue. So whatever we have learned in the past 2 years, it is the time to sort of capitalize on that now. So when I say capitalize on that, I mean part of the population will continue to work from home for a very, very long time, if I may say so. If not permanently, I mean it is going to be at least a couple of years. And return to work will actually depend on certain profiling. I mean, as a company or as an organization, we all have to do a lot of demographic study. We also have studied the patterns in which the work is delivered in the organization, and try to identify which kind of roles need a lot of dependence on the office. And anything which can be virtual will stay virtual. For example, the finance functions, the HR functions, they can virtually work. It doesn't really matter where they are recruiting people from, where they are stuffing, or where they are processing the organization invoices or bills or financial instruments. But functions like ours, administrators, security personnel, they will definitely have to be present at the offices, so that offices can keep running, the way they are. So in my opinion, I think both are going to stay. It's just not that, work from home will take over the real estate portfolio completely, and people will, I mean, the administrator or CRE leaders will completely give up, their portfolios. That's not going to happen. So we'll definitely see a very healthy mix of both the approaches to work. That's my initial thought, yeah. And then we can sort of build on that. Over to you, Sangram, I mean, if you want to add up.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. Thanks, Kansab, for this, topic, and my gratitude to GACS to come with this kind of relevant topic. Now, what Rajesh told is absolutely correct. I would like to shift the entire attention to a different perspective. See, work from home, and as the GACS North chapter is conducting this, few days back or few weeks back, work from home WFH was being called in North as work from Himachal. People were trying to go on the hills to spend some time because of the boring in work from home. Now, this one part of the story is okay. We all have learned a lot from this pandemic. What is the work-life balance? It was being taught to us, it was being discussed, it was being debated, but what it really meant, we all we all experienced during this pandemic. I mean, this we forcefully got experience about this. So now many thoughts are coming. Now work from home, work from Himachal. Now there is a new concept called work from never. So as Rajesh rightly pointed out, now corporates have started, taking statistics or data from where this employee can be comfortable working. They have started looking for offices in satellite towns to ensure the employee get comfort, managing his hometown, managing his office work, and all these kind of things is started developing in this market now. So there is no doubt work from home is not the solution. There is also no doubt that work from office 100% is not the solutions. But if we take some data of 2020, 8% of the entire GDP is from IT/ITES sector. And this work from home kind of concept is more related to IT/ITES. Now, I was going through one of the posting by Asa Pathania, who works for PVR. Now, they are coming up a concept called take the multiplexes to your home. That means the employees who are working for them, the cleaning people, they don't have any job. So they are offering services. The sanitization and cleaning job at my home can be done by PVR. So this is another concept also coming. So some people, some part of the people who are striving to get a job, they are ready to work anywhere, everywhere, in whichever way. There are other portion of the people, IT/ITES, BPOs, and this kind of technology people, who are having now very much in demand because of the IT sector is booming up, the requirement is coming up, something to a great extent. So the work from home and all this kind of concept is becoming a debate there. How to ensure the employee get comfort, how to ensure he works comfortably. So, this is a very vast topic. We can keep, discussing one by one. So I think this is where I'll try to pause here.
Thank you, Sangram. Thank you, Rajesh. Nice to hear both of your views. I'll take you all a little back now. Take you to at least February of last year. We understand the situation under which we've gone to this extreme circumstance which forced us into this pandemic activity. We all understand organizations, in the organization, the employees were always saying, "Mereko work from home de do." Somebody would walk up to his or her manager and say, "This kind of task I can do from home." But organizations were very chary. Invariably, an odd organization, they are friendly, but even those friendly organizations also, it was very difficult for the organization to accept that my employee is going to be working from home entirely. It could be for a few days, somebody got unwell, you said, okay, you can work from home for the next week, 10, 12 days, that kind of thing was there. But now that we've seen for the last year and a half, you've been working comfortably. So my question is, why were organizations not advocating work from home pre-pandemic? If this kind of possibility existed, why didn't they in the first place only accept it? Why didn't they have it wait for a pandemic to find out the advantages of work from home? Sangram, could start with you.
See, this is also a debatable topic, Kansab. I'll tell you, the banking sector, the financial sector, or the sector which is related to data and all, are still not sure where their employees is working. Even if I'm working from home, who's in front of me, the data is exposed, who's looking at my data, how to ensure the data is secure. This is also a very big question mark. That is why some companies have started giving some kind of home inside home, some kind of cabins to supply to the home, so that they can work inside that cabin whenever they're working, so that the data and everything can be secure to the extent possible. So that is why it was a debate earlier. I mean, nobody was able to get convinced themselves, or the boardroom was not able to conclude themselves, yes, work from home would be that easy, that comfortable, considering all this security perspective. So that is the main threat to the organization. But when we got compelled, we didn't have any choice. So, the IT people had to be worked overnight to find some kind of methodology, how can somebody work remotely, yet the data can be secure, yet we can have the comfort of our policies and procedure to be in place. So this is how we have evolved from February 20 till now, February 19 till
Perfect. Thank you, Sangram. Rajesh, your views, please.
Yeah, thanks. Pardon me, I mean, if I go slightly longer on this, my own experience, I mean, I think past 2 years, I've been working, with the sort of, board very, very closely on making all the decisions first, relating to work from home when the pandemic started, and now sort of, transitioning back to the office. So coming back to, first part of your question, why we could not do it or why organizations could not do it earlier. I think it is probably coded in our DNA, Kannadashok. We all know, the jobs are meant to be performed at offices. So that's there in our DNA, right? We can't change it. So people who are not at offices are assumed not to be working. So productivity only had one code. I mean, if you're at office, if you're sitting in your chair for 8 hours, even if not doing anything, I mean, you're still understood or assumed to be performing for company. So there was no better motivation for the organizations to let that employee sit at home and perform the same tasks. So that is the reason, one reason. Second, the real estate is continues. I mean, still continues to be biggest cost for the organizations. And when these big companies appointed very big offices, very spacious offices, they also sort of brought in a whole lot of facilities to attract the talent. So that's a whole lot of cost. And unless and until you have people working from those offices, you would not see the benefit properly utilized. So that is another reason companies wanted more and more people to come to the offices and spread the word to the whole nation or maybe to the whole world out there. They become their ambassador, brand ambassadors. Or my office is probably the best office. Maybe a Google employee could be heard saying this to multiple groups.
Perfect. Thanks,
so
Rajesh.
There was definitely a lot of motivation, a lot of benefit for the organizations to have people work from offices. But when pandemic started, I mean, I know within those 3 to 4 weeks, we had to make very tough decisions. The logistic companies, the movers and
Perfect.
packers.
We'll come to that, Rajesh. Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks for that. So taking it ahead, integrated facility management was a buzzword before COVID. It used to be integrated facility, and when the whole thing getting connected, Sangram has been doing a lot of work in that field. However, we are more into boardroom discussion mode these days. So my query is, what kind of modifications have organizations done to adapt to the work from home? Yeah. So Rajesh, you mentioned something about you covering that in some form. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of modifications have been done? How have they arranged? What kind of changes have been done? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the first of all, I mean, it happened overnight. I mean, we were not really prepared. So the desktop, distribution, the laptop distribution, that started happening in the first few weeks. Over a period of time, I mean, as we sort of, stabilized the operations, I think most of our clients, I mean, they started looking at other benefits in terms of insurance enhancement, benefits in terms of giving them allowances, which could take care of, setting up a home office. It could be, one-time purchase of appropriate furniture. Or it could be a recurring allowance for the Wi-Fi connections or managing the bandwidth pieces. We also sort of recognize the fact that our offices, which were not being utilized, still had a lot of assets in them. So we started loaning those assets back to the employees. So anybody who wanted to pick up an asset like a chair or a second screen or a bigger screen, they could come back to offices and sort of take it on loan. So those are the few adjustments I think we did. So technology, the bandwidth, the furniture, the insurance, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And okay, thanks, Rajesh. Sangram, what kind of how adaptability from the employees' point of view at home? What kind of modification they had to do? What kind of changes in their routine, in their workplace? in the new workplace, which was the home. Yeah.
See, concerning Indian mentality, as Rajesh told, it was in our DNA. If you are at office only, you are being termed as working. So when the employee is working from home, the employer initially started thinking of, I am saving his travel time, I am saving lot many things for him, so I should make him work more. So it was a very big gimmick, or it was a very troublesome idea for the employee how to adopt that. So earlier he might be spending 10 hours in place of 8 hours inclusive of travel. But here when he started working from home, the pressure was up to 12 hours, 13 hours, odd hours, anytime, every time. So initially it was very difficult for every part of employees to adapt to this kind of change. Second is inside home also, you have got families, you have got many things. Now all of a sudden you have to be very professional while delivering your data or delivering your whatever it is, maybe mail, or maybe you are talking to somebody. So it's a small example. If the pressure cooker is on and the CT is on, then you are gone for a toss. So those kind of things were very difficult initially, but yes, in due course of time, all these things became managed and became also a part of life. And now we are more matured and more saturated in both ways.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Sangram. So you see in modifications at the company level, at the organization level, at individual level, we've been doing. Folks, in the last year and a half, when we've been working from home, we've modified our lifestyle in various fashions. So we'll have a small little quiz towards the end. Just don't leave away. Jatin has got nice prizes also for you. So we'll have this quiz towards the end. So be on the guard. We'll have some questions coming in, and fastest finger first, whosoever comes up with the right solution. And Jatin is going to be delivering some good goodies to you also. Okay. So coming to the next one. India Inc. has been hiring from locations other than offices. And this has shot up to as much as 75% from barely about 40% pre-pandemic. The figures could be varying, but this is a figure I read somewhere that you, from other than the main locations, it's shot up to as much as 75%. It used to be just about 35 to 40% earlier. That means almost a jump, almost twice a jump. So that means the tier 2 and tier 3 companies are coming up. We find that infrastructure, both road connectivity is improving. At the same time, connectivity as far as the net is concerned is improving. 4G and 5Gs of the world are coming in over there. So what I'm asking you is, what kind of more opportunities are these opportunities here going to be staying? What are the constraints and options for organizations in today's scenario? What are the options? Will they be going ahead? Do we foresee this kind of thing continuing, or there's some constraints still? We could look at answers to this. Sangram, we could start with you.
Yeah, let Rajesh answer it first.
Okay, Rajesh, over to you.
All right, Colonel Ashok, thanks, Sangram. I'll probably try to pick up one example here, Colonel Ashok. A study that comes to my mind. I mean, it's a company which has 40,000 employees, and these 40,000 employees has approximately 15,000 employees who have been hired during the pandemic. And these 15,000 employees have been hired from approximately 2,500 different companies, different cities in India. So you look at the dispersion. I mean, this organization has, let's say, offices in only 10 cities of India. They're present only in 10 cities of India with 40,000 employees. But the hiring, that they've done in the last couple of years, it's 15,000 employees from approximately 2,500 different cities. So apart from those 10 cities, they have seen a lot of other clusters emerging. These clusters could be down south, could be down east, down west. But from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, I think it's just like pretty much scattered situation. And these people have never seen offices, which they have been hired for. So technology, I think, has made that possible. The virtual, or remote working concepts that has made this possible, that anybody can come and join particular organization without the barriers, that geography can put forward. But how far, this can continue? That's something, which we really have to, make an assessment of. This will also run into larger problems on going forward. For example, when these guys are hired, you give them a laptop. Technology is taken care of, and every laptop will have a capital life of, let's say, 3 years to 4 years, the way it is handled by them. And if they start running into problems, which is like hardware issues or software issues, then as an organization, it will be very cumbersome, almost like next to impossible, to have that remotely supported for a perpetual time zone. It cannot be done. So ultimately, the organizations will have to think on retreating back on this particular concept. What I mean to say, they will have to limit the geographical dispersion of the company. So instead of having employees scattered in 2,500 cities, I may have to say, okay, I agree to have my spread, let's say, down to maybe 30, 40 cities in India alone. Or the best would be you work from home, no problem with that, but at least come back to the site, where the offices are, where they come back to the cities where our offices are, so that all the problems can be taken care of. So I think it is going to be a pretty much a struggle. Hiring is done. Now, how do you get them relocated to your office locations? I think is the next part of the problem.
Sangram?
Yeah, adding to what Rajesh has told, now companies have also started thinking of taking offices in satellite towns just to ensure whatever employee they have hired, they are continued with them. Because of the demand in ITES, now I talk to many of my friends now who have started working for two companies. One company as a consultant, the other company as a permanent employee or as a full-time employee. This is because of the demand. So now we are not getting proper skill set of employees to perform the work. That is why we have started going to remote areas, started going to explore new geographies. Now, during this period also, as far as the data is concerned, more than 2,000 new startups in technology sector has come up. So this is another way also, some people have started thinking of, to do the work from their hometown. So this is why the companies or the corporates have started thinking of going to remote area to recruit them, or started planning to take offices in satellite town. So this is also going to be a game changer in coming days.
Perfect. There is a statistics of one of the organizations. There could be different at different places, but they did try to collect data from the employees. And this is just for information. Like I said, it is pertaining to an organization. It could be different for others also. But it says when they ask the employees whether you want to come from to the office or work from home, 86% said we will still want to continue to work from home only. 6 to 7% invariably always on the edge anyway, jahan bulaoge kar lenge, ghar se bhi theek hai, office se bhi theek hai. And about 5 to 6% who said no, we want to come to the office. So there was a tiny percentage, 5 in 100, 6 in 100, who wanted to come to the office also. Now my question is, how easy or difficult it is going to be to return to the office from the individual's perspective and from the organizational perspective. Individual perspective, what are the kind of changes the people are going to be making in their lifestyle? And from the organization, what are the changes the organizations are now making or will be making for this? Yeah. Sangram, could start with you.
Yeah. So very interesting. Now, because people are getting more opportunities, people are thinking, they can do away with this. That is why this demand has come up. And like I said earlier, work-life balance was only a theoretical topic. Now it has becoming a practical topic, and pandemic has learned us many things. So people have started thinking, why to run after money, or why to run all these things which cannot give me anything and everything in my life. That is why the thought process is changing, and they don't care even if the organization, many of the organization, be it Wipro, Infosys, or the big IT companies have given a target by December, at least 50% of the people should join back. Still the employees are thinking like this. So, it's a very challenging situation for the employers or for the big corporates. That is why they have now started thinking how to have a flexible kind of work environment. How can it be work both in hybrid model, what Rajesh was also mentioning, how it can be shorter days, maybe 4 days a week. This is also going to be a consideration. And how can anybody and everybody can take leave as and when they want without any questions. So these are the things which have started cropping up in the mind of employers and the employees. So I think this is going to pose a challenge in times to come.
Okay. Okay. I'll jump to the next question, Rajesh. The diversity of employee preferences is entailing HR managers to relook at job profiles and compensations all over again. We know the kind of profile and compensation package we used to be earlier. In turn, employees are also expected to relook and display matching flexibility. You know, the organizations are saying, the HR is saying, you're working from home, you got all the time in the world, don't expect the same kind of compensations. The compensations have to be renewed, relooked. This may involve retraining, readjusting to different modes with more teams. So my query is, what policy changes do you propose with regard to, first, let's start with HR only. What kind of policy changes are organizations going to be doing? Start with HR, with you, Rajesh.
That's more of a HR question, Colonel Ashok. So I don't think anything that I say would be really given a lot of weight.
True.
So if I may, I would like to pass. But as an individual, if I can give my opinion, I don't think work from home has any kind of discounts on the salary. I mean, I still see people getting away with 40 to 60% increments over their previous jobs, over their previous roles. So the talent is getting hired, probably much larger packages even now. So only the people who have been affected are people, who would be on the lower side of the bell curve, So people who are not, the best performance in their organizations, I think they're the ones, who are badly hit, because they are not, the most sought after people in the current organizations. And once, they leave a particular organization, even in the open market, there are scarcity of, opportunities out there. So they would, make some cuts. They would accept, certain, lower packages, but otherwise market has nothing to do with work from home and, taking a hit on the salary.
Great. Sangram, anything?
I'm with Rajesh. Employees are on demand now, Kansav. Now HR is pursuing hard to convince them to, in whichever way they want to retain them. They want to take whatever experience they were having. And also there is another sentiment going on in India. Whoever has worked for them during this pandemic period, work overtime, even if from the home, they would like to continue with them. So HR is, to my perspective, HR is now on a very cordial mood with all the employees to ensure their comfort, to ensure the flexibility. I don't think there is a pay cut or something of that sort is going to be in force.
Okay. Fine. Thanks for that. I know we are all corporate managers out here, but then one has to delve a little beyond at the edges also to understand how it is affecting us. So what about a real estate, leasing, renting, or the same process which continued earlier? Do we foresee any changes coming in there? Rajesh, you are an expert on the CRE.
Sure, Colonel Ashok. At the start of the pandemic, so I'm talking about maybe Q1 and Q2 of last financial year. At that point of time, because under stress, a lot of stress. I mean, all industries, all builders, developers, I think they were all experiencing the same set of problems. So a lot of developers, big, small, medium, all kind of developers, they offered certain kind of discounts on CAM charges. Rentals were not really discounted, but they sort of offered. I mean, some of them offered giving rent-free period of maybe 1 to 2 months. That's it. The CAM charges, they were reduced for maybe a 3-month to 6 months. So there were moratoriums, which would take care of rentals and CAM charges. But then by end of October, November last year itself, I think, these discounts or these allowances or these benefits came to an end. Despite all this, we also saw a lot of major players. They started vacating their offices because everybody was trying to consolidate their spaces. Some of the sick buildings were the first to go back to the builders, because a lot of capital expenditure is needed to bring them up to expectations. So all that was done. So it started reducing the real estate. So there was a lot of vacancy in the market, but even then, there was no proportional reduction in the rentals or CAM charges. The CAM charges stayed where it was. The rentals of all different zones, they stayed where they are. And now today, when we are talking about the real estate market, I think it has started picking up again. There is lesser vacancy. I mean, the vacancy is reduced from maybe a 14-15% to 7-8% in the market, which means more and more people have signed leases. If we talk about last quarter itself, there has been a total uptake of approximately 1 million square feet in terms of new leases. So the market is back. I don't think we as organizations can actually expect the rents to go down. All the more reasons to expect higher rentals, because as developers, I think they'll have to take care of a whole lot of paraphernalia, which is in terms of keeping their campuses safe and secure. So a lot of investment in terms of technology and safety and hygiene and things like those. So it can slightly go up, but not lower.
Great. Thanks for that, Rajesh. Sangram, coming to O&M aspects, any changes in the property aspects? We find in case the segmentation as far as the power structure is concerned. Just now, for a building which has got 3,000 people working over there, just about 300 odd people are coming, 200 people are coming, and you perforce have the chillers running, you have the complete plant running. Do you see some sort of segmentation should be coming in the future, so that you can address tiny segments of the building rather than having the power being wasted for the whole building? Those kind of things in some other form also?
Yeah, it has already started, Conserve. What is happening is now whoever are having centralized plants are the most affected ones. They have started doing segments, but whoever have got choices, who have got multiple equipments, now they have started using part of the equipment for the entire show, because maximum 10 to 15% of occupants are still there and the rest of the thing is vacant. So there are two challenges. One is expenses of the running of the machine. That's inevitable. The other part is, if you are running the machine on a lower capacity, then the wear and tear is more also. So those threats are also there. So we have started getting requests and queries from many of our clients, and then the market is going towards that. How can this be done? How can a buyback system also can be in place to replace a big machine with 3 or 4 small machines and all these kind of things? So this discussion is now open, and people have started working towards that. Even if segmentation of not offices, spaces, segmentation of the chiller plants, the generators, and to some extent the UPS also. So it started going on.
Great.
I have a viewpoint on this, if you allow me a minute.
Please. Yeah.
So again, talking about very practical examples, an organization with, let's say, 4.5 million square feet spread across multiple cities, offices ranging from, let's say, 100,000 square feet to 650,000 square feet in a single building, standalone or multi-tenanted buildings. The utilities sector, I think we've not seen much change. What I mean, of course, the electricity consumption has come down because offices are not operating at all. But 40-50% of the overall consumption is still there, which is probably running the data centers, your UPSs, and maybe those PSC units. So a lot of consumption happens on account of these permanent fixtures. So while our consumption has come down, it has not come down below 40% or 45% mostly. So, and then, like Sangram said, for a unit which is larger unit, and if you don't have individual control on certain pockets of the floor, I think you'll have to run bigger equipment, which can probably affect your economics of the consumption.
Great, thanks. Okay, folks, we have a few queries in the chat box. I'll just pick up and share it with both of you. Mr. Chopra is asking how to ensure that the attendance as well as output during the entire working hours allocated to an employee, how to ensure their attendance.
I told you, Colonel Ashok, this is in our DNA, right? I mean, people still think, oh, how to fill 8 hours or 9 hours of the day, how to, have somebody almost like, working or slogging at work all day long. It's not needed. I mean, one organization can cheat. For example, maybe I'm a cheater, right? I don't want to work from home, but for how long? For how long? I mean, ultimately, your output will be seen somewhere. I mean, it's just like connecting the dot, kind of game. You can, fake it for maybe 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, but for the whole year, or maybe now, which is close to 2 years, people can't fake it at such a large level. World across, we've not seen a dip in the productivity. Is that magical? Is that not amazing? I think it is amazing. So sometimes people will have the flexibility. Oh, I can go and attend maybe my children's PTM. Nobody is watching me. Fine. I mean, you can maybe take that much time off. But alternatively, people would have worked on weekend, right? People would have worked on a festival holiday also. So that sort of balances it out. It's just that I take out time for myself when I needed it, but when organization needed, I'm sort of up and running and delivering on those kind of promises. So it balances out.
Answers your query, Mr. Chopra. You are unmuted now.
Thank you very much, Colonel Saab. But just I want to raise a small point, because you see, as you are aware that I am owning a IT industry. It's all digital marketing. This is what I meant to say. Before this pandemic, we had this. We were not even aware about this concept from work from home. I meant to say, aware not there. Hardly there were 2, 3, 4, 5 employees. Now, out of my strength of 400, say more than 40-50%. People are just work again. They are still working from home. They like to work from home, and my problem is this: now the other employees which are their presence is required in our industry, they are also asking off and on the permission from home, working from home on their personal grounds. My husband is not well, I have to go to that place Hardwar for that. In my journey in car, I will complete all this work. This is the thing which is I am not able to how to cope it with and how to get it. I mean to say the solution for that. Just I will request you to give me few suggestions for that.
See, people working from home is a flexibility. But somebody who's wanting to have one side of the flexibility and not deliver on results cannot say, I mean, I can continue working on that. Flexibility is just given. For example, even in our team, even in my team, I mean, I don't really have to wake up and see who's like online, who's not. I mean, I can't spend my day like that. But then at the end of the day, the deliverables have to be counted, right? So in market today, there are a lot of software applications, Mr. Chopra, which can give you a snapshot, which can give you dashboard, how much time is spent online, talking to customers or using your technology on the computer, for the organization. So those kind of data will be received from those applications. But my personal thought is more than that, you would be interested in the total output. If it is sales or if it is delivering the new software technologies or creative works. So how much is this done by that particular employee? And after that, if he wants to spend some time with family, I mean, that should be okay. But it doesn't have to be one-sided. Like you're explaining, I mean, it sounds like one-sided affair. That cannot go on, of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We had some other queries also. Ajit, you can unmute yourself. In the meantime, I can read the question that you had. He says, Ajit Pandey mentioned that since real estate is major contributor to employment, should we promote work from home rather than create secure environment? I'll just repeat the question. Since real estate is major contributor to employment, should we promote work from home so that we save on the real estate? Of course, we covered in some part earlier. Rather than create a secure environment, should we continue with the current process? That's what Ajit is trying to inquire. Yeah, please.
Okay, I think the
Sangram?
question is to Sangram.
Yeah, Sangram, you can try this. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So see, all depends. As on date, many people in the FM industry, real estate industry, are starving to get a job. I'm talking about the blue collar people, and some other part of the people like Mr. Chopra, highlighted. They want their own comfort in doing work from home. So from a collective perspective, from a national interest perspective, like Rajesh also told a few minutes back, because of the requirement of new normal and all these kind of things, the rent might go up, the values might go up. So from a national perspective, we all should aspire to work from office to the maximum to the extent possible. So that's my personal view from national interest perspective.
Great. There's another query that is to do with assets. Now, he specifically mentioned for you, Sangram. He says, regarding loaning assets to employees. So what checks and controls are to place for recovering the assets in case of absconding cases, damages, leaving the case? How does one address that? There's some asset manager who's badly affected. He says, I'm losing out on the assets, organization assets. Somebody has absconded, moved out with the equipment also. And how to recover those kind of, yeah.
See, I mean, there is no thumb rule. We need to protect our asset through insurances. And, during this period, many new concepts in insurances have come up, and we all have adopted that. Rajesh also pointed out in the initial stage, all these things have already been taken care of. Whoever has not done, they can now check with the insurance people what best can be done. But if somebody is doing all this kind of thing, the ratio as on date in India is very less. Rightly also Rajesh told in his earlier thing, we need to trust our employees. Very few percentage of people might do this, but we have to live with it without doubting the entire community, or with making a progressive mind to take it further. This is my view.
So can I take a shot on this?
Yeah, please, Rajesh.
So in my opinion, we basically have to be aware, what the purpose is. The purpose of the organization is to help out people, not to sort of, have, the assets secured, right? I mean, and particularly when I take my own example, when we would devise a program like this where people can loan out the office furniture or equipment, you basically select certain pieces of equipment, which could be, monitors like larger screens, or sit to stand workstations, or chairs. So you probably look at some of the items which have a very low salvage value in the books of company, right? Over a period of time, there would be a lot of depreciation. So if your book has already written off those assets, all you need to do is debond them. After debonding those assets, their value would be hardly like 1,000 or 1,500 rupees, right? And that can straight away be paid out by the company, by the employee who's taking it on loan, and then you don't need to track that also. Or the thought is, I mean, you write it off, because it has no value in the books. Even if it is given away to the employee for 8-9 months use, it is probably a better use of that particular asset rather than scrapping it out at like 7 or 8 months later. So just a point of view.
Great. Thanks for that, Rajesh. Okay, folks, the interesting part, of course, been very interesting till now, both of you. Thanks to Rajesh and Sangram. So we've been working in the office, in the home office all this while. You've been saving on time by various methods. You have a lot of acronyms which have been coined earlier in the industry. More and more have got coined recently. We have a triple O. We've always been using that, out of office. There's a new one which got added, OOH, out of home. Okay. So we have these kind of things, and we always been using that end of business, EOB, EOD, end of day. We had a COB, a close of business. There are a few more which lined up recently. So are you ready with that fastest finger first? Jatin, are you there? You keeping a track?
Yes. So, Colonel Saab, my only request to all the attendees is your answers. I would request you everyone to please drop your answers, not to as in everyone, but individually put it in the chat box to me, to Jatin Luthra. So I can give you all a tip here. You can all select in the chat box. You can keep the chat box open, and you can select my name over there, and that way you'll be able to answer it, which will come directly to me. So I'm going to shortlist, pick up the winner's name from the one who is sending it to individually to me and not to everyone.
Okay, okay. So the ground rule is very clear. That's where the umpire comes in. He's laid out the rule very clearly. So folks, we start. TYT. TYT. What does TYT stand for? Please put it in the chat box for Jatin Luthra. Please search for the name Jatin Luthra and you can put it over there. You can put it over there, sir. Yeah, no raising of hand, just write it over there. TYT. Once you finish, once you got some answers over there, Jatin, you can let me know. Then we can start. I can look at the next one.
But this is strange. I have not even received even a single answer.
Not a single one.
I've got one. I've got one.
Okay, 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 okay. Folks, take your time. Don't worry. TYT, take your time. Anyway, coming to the next one. Okay, this is TLDR. TLDR. Bosses लिखते हैं बहुत कई बारी. Subordinate बहुत काम किया है, and boss just writes, TLDR. Typical of a boss sitting on the top. The poor chap is slogged, subordinate slogged right through, spent many hours on that, and the boss writes TLDR.
Yeah, we got the answer.
Great, great, great. So some bosses have been using it, it means. Or some subordinates found it on their boss's remarks. Okay, okay. Great. WDTC, Whiskey Delta Tango Charlie. WDTC. This could be against somebody. WDTC.
No response as of now. Everyone is thinking.
Why do they care? Why do they care? Folks, I found this kind of jargon is being used around. And maybe, we didn't care about this one. Anyway, this is simple. KISS. I'm sure most of us would answer that. KISS. KISS. The bosses way of telling people, easy rakho, simple rakho. Yeah, Jatin?
Yes, we've got the answer.
DS Harit is coming open. Yeah, yeah. But then Harit, you have to write over there. Jatin has laid down the ground rule that has to go to him so that he can, check it easily. Okay, okay. Done?
Yep.
Another one. WIIFM. WIIFM. Whiskey, India, Foxtrot, Mike. WIIFM. Okay. And the last one, bosses, NRN. Anybody can say for that matter, NRN. That is in fact to decrease the threat of mails. You have too many mails coming in, this is NRN.
And November, Romeo, November. Right?
Yeah, November, Romeo, November. That's right, that's right. Udit had mentioned, replied over there, yeah. Normal response mode, yeah, that could be, but a little different. The reply with me is different. Somebody said not right now. Could be. Could
So
use
we
that.
got
But,
some right answers as well.
yeah. Okay. So that's it, folks. Jatin, like to give the replies, answers, and some howlers also. क्या आपके पास में?
Sure. So just 1 second. All right. So for the first one, we have the winner is Snehgiri.
Wow.
For the second, we have Gautam Verma.
Wow.
For third, we have Shashikant Dubey.
Mm-hmm.
For the fourth one, we have by the name which is Ritesh there. And the fifth one is I have someone with the name of Huda.
Okay. Folks, remember to give your numbers to Jatin.
Yeah, I've already collected that.
He'll be sending you gift checks for that activity. Wonderful. Thanks for the support. Thanks for closing in. And once again, thank you, folks. Thanks, Sangram and Rajesh. I think it's been wonderful hearing you. I think we that much the more brighter, much more learned. We've learned, what we are facing, what we're going through, and what we're going to be facing in the future. I think so many, aspects have come out. How we're going to be coming up in the future. Life has changed drastically. Hopefully for the better. Because a work-life balance has come in. You're able to, like Mr. Chopra was saying, while work-life balance has come in, somebody is gone to the other extent, some people go to the other extent where they're trying to, mismanage and misuse the system. That's where the bosses again come in. And that, you have to be justified in the activity. While the system, the organization is coming forward to help you out, we as employees in our organization also have the responsibility of ensuring that, we have the responsibility that, we do our little bit for the organization also. Last words, anything? Rajesh and Sangram? Okay, Mr. Chopra has got something to say. Yeah, Mr. Chopra, last one, please. Just unmute yourself, please. Mr. Chopra, you'll have to unmute yourself. Yeah, please go ahead.
Ashokji, I am feeling very disturbed because at my time, at our time when we were in service, we have never heard or this work from home can also be possible. Otherwise, it would have been at that time, we would have been able to please our counterpart, our homemakers, who have always been, I will not say problem, everybody is smiling on my एक्सपीरियंस और काश ये चीज हमारे सामने उस समय हमको पता होती कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम भी पॉसिबल है तो
Sir, my commanding officer from the army, Colonel Bhaskar Kale, is also here.
Yes, sir.
I wish we were posted in the borders and sitting at home in Delhi and saying work from home. Colonel Kale, sir, like to add something?
Yes, okay.
Unmuted, please.
That's all. That's all.
It's such a wonderful discussion. I just listened to. Totally unknown area for me. Wonderful thing.
True, sir, let me answer Mr. Chopra.
Yes, sir.
हमेशा दूर की पहाड़ सुंदर दिखता है. वैसे जो लोग आज के दिन में वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर रहे हैं, जो आप एस्पेक्ट की सोच रहे हैं ना, all their wives have started, telephoning to the bosses, आप जल्दी ऑफिस खोल दीजिए. Enough is enough now.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Thanks once again. And another 2 weeks down the line, we'll have another topic,
we also have
contemporary topic. Yeah, Jatin.
I think I could see Mr. Taneja is raising hand. Wanted to talk about.
Yeah, please.
Sir, this was a very wonderful talk over this work from home, and I want to add one thing. There should be system to be adopted to build the trust between employee and employer. So this problem can be solved out. This system should be adopted of the trust building between employer and employee, so that productivity can be taken care of for the organization, and welfare of the employee can also be taken care of in all aspects. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Taneja. Jatin, just for last 2 minutes, you can unmute everybody in case somebody wants to come in. Please, most welcome. You can unmute everybody. People, folks, you can unmute yourself and give out in case. Sneh, you wanted to say something? Sneh Anandgiri, congrats for that award also. Deepak, I can see you also there.
1 second, so what I have to do is I have to put everyone on mute once,
Okay.
and then they will be able to unmute it, whosoever.
Perfect, perfect.
Yep. So anyone who wants to speak can please unmute themselves.
Good
Mr.
evening.
Casey is there. Yeah, Mr. Sharma,
Yeah.
Mr. Casey. Yeah.
Yeah, let me share with you the real estate aspect of this. I was part of Procter & Gamble for 2 years, and I used to travel to Singapore every 3 months. For your information, the real estate cost in Singapore, even in 2005 and 2007, was very high. So they had about 1,000 employees posted there, but they had created only 600 seats in the office. And to work 1 day at home out of 5 days was compulsory, with the consultation of your team and your boss. So even in that time, when I visited the residences of some people, the table, the chair, equipment was already provided for by the company. So this concept has existed. Only some progressive companies were using even then. So they had prepared for the future even then. So just to add to you, so they were ahead of the game. And global companies like JLL were the facility managers there. And I used to be part of the Asia Workplace Services, exchanging views across Australia, New Zealand to India. This was the territory exchanging. So just wanted to add to you, the real estate is a big driver. And I know hybrid model going forward in India is going to continue.
Great. Thank you, Kuldeep, sir. Nice to hear you. Anybody else, folks? Before we call it a day, Deepak?
No, I think just a parting note. This is Ritesh. I would genuinely want to thank GACS as a platform. Who've done a commendable job. Okay, during these testing time, pandemic time. I know a lot of people, got connected. They formed a group, emergency group. During second wave, a lot of lives could be saved. Okay, so hats off to you. Big salute to GACS platform. Look forward for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritesh. Thanks, folks. Thanks, Sangram. Thanks, Rajesh, for your time. Been wonderful hearing you. I'm sure that much more brighter and cheerful after hearing from you all. Best wishes, folks. All the very best. And 2 weeks from now, we have another session waiting for you. Goodbye. All the best. Good times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.